Hello to the amazing people, the Niemer here and welcome to my first aid tutorial. In this tutorial I will talk about bleeding wounds and how to stop them from bleeding so you do not bleed out and die. I will start with some of the most severe wounds and then we will go from there. I will also talk about tools that you will be using for this and their various types and how do they work, and most importantly how to actually make them. I will also have useful timestamps in the comment below where you can access any topic that interests you. Deep lacerations. Deep lacerations are the most dangerous wounds in my opinion because they will make you bleed really fast and die, while most other wounds are just an inconvenience. Here we have an arm laceration. There are other types as well. You will recognize the deep laceration because your bleed bar here will be full and you'll be losing blood pressure. So you can pin both of these to check what the situation is. And unless you do something very fast, you will bleed out and die. Rest in peace, you will have to restart your run. In order to slow down the bleeding, you can use a bandage. So we have 4 types of bandages here. You can use any one of those. They will be pretty much the same. You can use them to apply the pressure to the wound. You do that by equipping the bandage on the wound. You can see that the bleeding got slowed down significantly. Your goal here is to get the laceration to coagulate. This top right icon here is the percent of coagulation. Once that reaches 100%, your wound will coagulate and you will be safe from bleeding. Okay, I'm gonna pass some time here just so you see what happens when you have the bandage on. There we go. So, we are almost bled out. Once this reaches 0, you will bleed out. If we go and check the wound, you will see that it's not healed fully yet. And although this is pretty close, bandage will just not do it. You will also need to use the tourniquet. So, tourniquet, you can put it on the wound and it will stop the blood flow to the place where the bleeding is, and it will stop the bleeding that way. However, this is a very powerful but dangerous tool. If you leave it on for too long, it will do permanent nerve damage to you, and that is not desirable because that's gonna slow down all your future actions for that limb. So if you put a tourniquet on, you will see that it removed the bar completely, the blood loss bar, and the low blood pressure is starting to stabilize. Ideally, you want to put the tourniquet on as fast as possible. You don't want this to get so low. But if you are not in the base or you don't have one available, you will need to scramble to make one. There is some time, like a couple of hours before you feel bleed out, as long as you have a bandage. Right, so now the wound is completely coagulated. Once that happens, you can go and replace your tourniquet with a bandage. So the coagulated wound will stop half of the bleeding, the other half you can stop with the bandage. So in theory you can have as many coagulated wounds as you like on your person without actually bleeding. Alternatively, if you happen to have a threaded needle on you, you can also stitch the wound to stop the bleeding. So, you will need some courage for that. Courage comes usually from being in a lot of pain, well, which we certainly are, or from drinking kava and wine. I would not rely on this too much because sometimes when you need it the most, the courage is not there, but in this case we have it. So we're gonna stitch the wound. So we get a stitched arm laceration. This works exactly the same as coagulation would. So once we stitch it and put ash dressing on it, the bleeding will stop and you will be fine. The golden rule. Let me give you a life-saving advice. So Niemer's golden rule of first aid in Card Survival Tropical Island. I would advise that you always bring ash dressing and tourniquet with you. So always carry it with you and you'll be fine. If you do something which you don't know it's dangerous or not and you get a heavy laceration, then well, just grab those out. Put a tourniquet on, well, not in the backpack, on the wound, there we go, and that will completely stop the bleeding. And then you can leave on tourniquet for a couple of hours here. Make sure the nerve pressure doesn't reach too high though. You can pin it and you can track it. And then just before it maxes out, There we go. You want to replace the tourniquet with the ash dressing and let the wound fully coagulate. Yes, your blood pressure will start dropping a little bit, but once this is fully healed, it's gonna be perfectly fine. And there we go. Nice and healed. As for the threaded needle, you will want eventually to stitch it up because that will make it heal faster, but more in detail about that a little bit later. But Niamir, how do I actually make these tourniquets and bandages? I really want to do them, but like, how do we do it? It's not actually that complicated. So tourniquet, it's unlocked from the start of the game. You will need a piece of cloth and you will need to grab some sticks. Sticks you can find in many locations in the game. You will not actually progress far in this game if you don't know how to find sticks. And the easiest way to grab a piece of cloth is to actually go and rip up your shorts or underwear. And then you combine the sticks with the cloth to create a tourniquet. Alternatively, you can make an improvised tourniquet. You will need a fiber cord and some sticks and combine them together. This will work just as well, but I actually find making the other one a little bit easier actually. Then you will also need to craft some bandages. You can make improvised dressings out of cloth. You click on the cloth and choose the option craft bandage. Wound dressing, you start off with Tourist. He has them in his plane crash in one of his first aid boxes. You cannot craft them otherwise. Ash dressing you craft by combining a piece of ash, which you get from burning fires, and a small piece of cloth. You can get small piece of cloth by, for example, ripping apart your socks. There we go. You can of course make a loom and craft the cloth that way as well. I don't have a piece of ash here to show you, but you interacted with the small cloth. And finally you can make the leaf dressing from the weevil plant. You can find it in the jungle by exploring. You pick its leaves like you would any other plant, and then you click on them and then click craft bandage out of it. You craft a threaded needle by combining a fiber cord with any needle. And that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions about any other crafts, and I will answer as best as I can. Shark bite. Well, sounds pretty scary and dangerous, right? Well, actually, it only bleeds half the amount that the deep laceration does, so any bandage will stop the bleeding completely. And after that, you will have time to treat it in other ways if you need to. I don't think it actually can even be stitched. Yeah. So yeah, this thing you will just need to stop the bleeding, and that's about it. And well, wait for it to heal basically. Cobra Spit. Well, Cobra Spit's actually pretty annoying because it will damage your eyes over time. You will need 2 portions of water to fully clean it up. So my advice is to always carry at least 2 portions of water with you and fully clean it. Well, I didn't prepare 2 for this tutorial. Let's see if how it works. Nope. But yeah, just imagine me doing it once more. And that's it. Don't go to areas where there are cobras, or don't go to areas to which you do not know if there are cobras, with at least 2 portions of unevaporating water. Urchin Spikes. Okay, this is a pretty rare one, but you just click on it, you remove the spines, and I guess you're gonna have to do it multiple times. You get it by walking barefooted in the rocks or some other areas which have urchins. And well, after that you just slap a bandage on that bad boy and that's it. Although this one doesn't really bleed, so this will just help with healing it faster. This will conclude the first aid tutorial. I hope I showed you how to deal with any wounds which need immediate care. If I missed some of them or something was unclear, you can let me know in the comment and I will do my best to elaborate further. I will also make another tutorial in which I will talk about how to actually treat the wounds. I will start by saying that no matter what the wound type is, if you can, just put an ash dressing on it. And for now, that should be enough of an information. However, in the next tutorial I will talk about wound treatment, how to make them heal faster, especially like sprains and fractures, which will need a special type of item to care as well. And yeah, as always, let me know what other tutorials you would like to see. If I missed anything, need to add all the, commendations, criticisms, suggestions, anything you really like. In the meantime, I wish you all to have a wonderful day, do something nice, be kind to each other, and let's make the world a better place. Happy surviving, and let the tourniquet and ash dressing always be in your favor. The Nemer signing out. Bye bye. A little bit of a bonus video here. This is the situation that the tourist starts in, and you actually start with an arm laceration and 2 abrasions, and we want to deal with the arm laceration right away. And abrasions are not a top priority, but you also want to slap something on there if you can. So first of all, we're gonna go and we're gonna find our first aid kit. We're gonna take the wound dressings out. We're gonna put one on the arm laceration to slow down the bleeding, and we're gonna put another one on one of these abrasions. Then we're gonna need to craft the tourniquet, we're gonna need a piece of cloth, and we will need some sticks. So your top priority here on the tourist is to find sticks immediately. If you fail to find sticks in like, I don't know, like, there we go. If you fail to find sticks before you bleed out, well, then you will just have to restart. Usually you do find some though. The next step will be to actually make the tourniquet. You can use your own underwear, you can use some from the baggage you have. We're gonna rip some off. We're gonna combine sticks and the cloth here to make a tourniquet, and we're gonna put it on our arm laceration here. Oh. We're gonna put the dressing there, and that's it. You saved yourself from certain doom. The tourniquet will stop this from bleeding, and you'll start recovering, and that's about it for the tourist. If you really want, after this thing coagulates, you probably want to put the wound dressing back onto it so it doesn't accumulate bacteria. But we only have 2 bandages, and we start with 3 wounds, so you can grab another piece of cloth, rip it up, craft some bandage, and put that on the other abrasion as well. Don't forget to clean this with water, but I will talk a little bit more about this in my second tutorial. Have a wonderful day, everyone. If you have any questions, please ask. And yeah, be kind to each other, and let's make the world a better place. Thank you all for watching. The Nemer signing out. Bye bye.